Hello, everybody. How are you all today? I hope you're doing well. My name is Carl. Welcome to this Friday lunchtime webinar on Facebook Live from us here at tefl.org.org. We hope you're doing well this Friday lunchtime. Who am I? Well, my name's Carl. As I said, I do the teacher training courses for the practical weekend courses for TEFL.org over here in Northern Ireland, where I live, and I'm originally from London. The courses aren't running at the moment, but I also do some other bits and pieces for TEFL.org. I also have my own online teaching business, and I'm currently doing some online teaching for a British university. I've also lived around the world teaching in Vietnam, Japan, Sri Lanka, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan. I was in Iraq for a bit, so teaching, and I've also taught in various places in the United Kingdom. And I also work as a TEFL examiner. So I'm hoping after that little brief history about me, you can trust that I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. I hope so, but I don't know everything. And if you do have anything to add to any of the points I'm going to make today, please put them in the chat. I can see some people are already saying hello. Hello, Laurie. It's great to see you as well. Please say hello in the chat so we know that you're listening. Tell us where you are in the world. I love to know where we get people from all over the place contacting us, and also where you are in your TEFL journey. Are you looking to start a job soon? Are you doing the course at the moment? Have you been teaching for a while? Please let me know. And these webinars work best when you ask me questions. So please, any questions about TEFL at all? Rose, you're in Belfast. Hello, Rose in Belfast. I'm in Bangor down the road. Hello, Ella in Fife. Great, the hellos are coming in. Hello, hello. Please, any questions you have at all about TEFL, please put them in the chat. So how's it going to work? I'm going to talk generally about our topic, but I quite often go off on tangents, depending on your questions and depending what goes into my mind. So please, any sort of clarification you need, let me know. Our topic today is how to find your first online teaching job. And I'm going to broaden that out a little bit to how to find your first TEFL job as well, because we are getting people asking about going to teach around the world a bit. So I think that's also quite worthwhile from that. Oh, look at all the hellos coming in now. Thank you. Hello, Simran. Hello, Ella. Hello, Andrea. Hello, Susan. I hope you're all having a great day. Right. So let's talk first of all about how to find your first online teaching job. Okay. So the first thing that you need to get yourself together is obviously some sort of qualification. Okay, so hopefully if you're watching this, you're either doing the qualification or you've passed your qualification and now looking for a job. You do need to have some sort of accredited generally qualification between something which has some sort of 120 hours of input. That's sort of the magic number that recruiters look for. And you do your little online, you do your online course, you take your time, you might do a practical course, either an online practical course that we offer here at TEFL.org or a weekend course that I'm missing so much, but want to get back to doing straight away as soon as we can. You've got that certificate and then you need to sort of start applying. So first thing is to try and find a job. Now I'm talking about going to work for a recruiter here. Look back at some of the past webinars and you'll see me talk about how to set yourself up as a online teacher with your own sort of business. But here we're sort of talking about going to work for a recruiter. So at TEFL.org, we have a blog post and we have a job center where we talk about the recruiters and the sort of entry requirements that they have. So you would need to look through them and see what recruiter you think is a good fit for you. So how do you know what is a good fit for you? Probably the first thing that you'd look for is maybe the times that you might be teaching online, because obviously you're probably not going to be teaching people in the UK time zone if you're in the UK. And I can see lots of people there are sort of around. There's someone in Thailand. Hello, Rosemary. But there's people sort of around the British time zone, you know, so it's just after midday here. So around that time. And if you're going to be teaching students out, one day I'll get this camera right, first of all, out this way, sort of the far east, obviously the time difference is quite different. So you would need to be able to work out sort of where the students are and what time you will be teaching, and whether you are happy with teaching in that time, because some people are, some people aren't. Be ready for that. If you've got any questions about that, please put it in the chat. So you've found a job that you think might work. You've decided, you sort of found out a bit more information, whether you're teaching kids or whether you're teaching adults, that kind of thing. And then this is where it gets a bit different, is what they will ask you to do. So some recruiters will ask you to fill in their own application form. Others might ask for you to send in your CV. So let's talk about the application form. So don't, you know, so keep in your mind everything that you learn on the course. Okay, the 120-hour online course that you've done, and see if you can get the bits that you've learned, the assignments you've done, the questions, the little tasks you've done. See if you can get that somehow into the questions to show what you have learned. Now, I'm talking about if you're a new teacher here and it's going for your first job. Now, if you've been teaching a bit before, to go for an online job, you might already have some experience that you can get into those little boxes in the form. Fantastic. But if you're new to it, think about what you've learned on the course. Think about any sort of feedback you've got. Think about the aspects that you've learned, and see if you can sort of get that and tailor it to the particular questions you're being asked within that box. Okay, hope that's clear. Might ask you for any sort of experience that you've got through teaching, and you think not have any. So think about your own personal life and think about any past jobs you've had. Okay, have you in any past jobs looked at have you done some training, no matter how small? You might have, I don't know, trained somebody how to use a till or a cashier. You might have trained people in how to talk to customers, that kind of thing. See if you can get that into your form. Or if you're looking to teach kids, then have you got experience of playing with kids in any sort of situation, maybe cousins, maybe your own kids, anything like that? See if you can get that into the form. So go down that route of sort of thinking outside the box a bit, not necessarily going down the TEFL route. Okay, think about in your own personal life, have you had any other experience? Guys, any questions at all? Please type them in. We're very happy. Someone be the first one. I will say a big hello and thank you to anyone that says the first question, because sometimes people are a bit shy to ask questions. But if you then you've put in the form and they've looked at you, and you've got to be a bit patient here. It can sometimes take a few weeks for it to get back to you, to the recruiters to get back to you. It's not going to be a 24-hour, 36-hour job. Okay, so first of all, it's going to be, you got to be a bit patient. Okay, how can you and then in that time apply to a couple more? I wouldn't apply to every single one that you've done straight away, because you want to kind of learn from the process of applying to ones, but then just wait. Then hopefully they'll get back to you, and then they'll get back to you, and then they'll ask you to do a few things. One of those things could be a trial lesson. So and that's probably going to be about 15-20 minutes, and you're probably going to be training some staff members that work at the recruiters that you're working for. So what do you do in that trial lesson? The first thing that they are looking for is your personality. They're probably looking for the personality more than your kind of teaching ability, if that makes sense. They're looking for you to be happy and smiley and deal well with the questions. So, you know, put on your teaching face. Hi, I'm Carl today, and I'm going to be a teacher, everyone. Hi. You know, put on your happy, smiley face. Don't come in like this, or like, hi, everyone, we're going to do the past simple. Just, you know, be nice and happy. And this is the other key part. So personality, show your personality, be happy. The other key part is to get the students talking. Make sure that you in that trial lesson are not talking too much. You know, ask them questions, listen to them, feedback any sort of errors they might have made. You know, get them talking, get them participating. Don't turn it into a lecture. So that's my 2 tips for any sort of trial lesson that they'll ask you to do: personality and a small amount of teacher talking time, a lot amount of student talking time. I'm going to stop there because I can see a couple of questions coming in. Hello, Eleni in Greece. Hello, Carla in London. Rosemary in Thailand. Hello. Laurie, hi. I've done lots of training for companies to teach them how to sell our products. Lovely. I've also done lecturing in the travel industry. Well, that sounds interesting. Usually for about 200 people. Should I mention this? Yes, Laurie, I would mention that. Why would I mention that? Because you know, if you're doing the training, you would have hopefully sort of, well, I'm guessing here, I've not done sales training, but you're probably going to have to give them people feedback, which is similar ideas to teaching. You're probably going to have to give them, you know, prepare your own PowerPoint slides, this kind of thing. You know, prepared the training lessons. This is all part of what you would do when you're teaching. Okay. And if you've given lectures to 200 people, hopefully that would show that you would be not too scared and nervous to go and be in front of, I don't know, 5 or 6 Chinese people. The other thing that might help you with is the recruiters might be looking for people that can teach business English. And from what you've written there, you seem like a perfect candidate to be teaching business English, Laurie. So yes, see if you can get that kind of thing in. Just make sure it doesn't sort of sound like you want to do that in, you know, you want to lecture to 200 people. Try and see what skills did you learn? What experience did you learn? And tailor that for the recruiting form. Hope that helps you, Laurie. That's really interesting. I wonder what sort of travel lecturing you did. That sounds great. Hello, Sapna. Hi. Is it possible to start teaching while studying the TEFL, or is it important to finish the course first? Very good question, Sapna. Right. Right. If you're going to go and get paid teaching from some sort of recruiter, they're probably going to want you to have finished the course already. However, there are definitely volunteer roles that you could do whilst teaching. One that we talk about a lot on here is a RefuNet. I think it's called, Alan. We had this come up last week, didn't we? Sorry, Alan's monitoring the chat. I should have said hello to Alan. I'm sorry if I didn't. Which is a great website to help refugees to learn English. That might be something that you might want to get involved in some sort of volunteering before you start working for a paid job. Okay, so yeah, that's definitely. And the other thing, Sapna, is I can't remember if you told me where you are. Let me just scroll up. I don't think you did, Sapna, but if you're in the UK, there's lots of local charities that help the various refugees that you have in the local cities. They don't really tend to mind whether you've passed or not. So that, again, that is something that you might want to get involved in. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Satna. Hi, Akash, hello. What would your suggestion be for a fresher non-native teacher looking forward to online jobs, and how can we decide our hourly teaching rates in the beginning? Right, so you've asked me a couple of questions there, Akash, hello. By fresher, I think you mean somebody who's new to teaching. I think so. Right. Right. Okay. So the first thing is, Akash, you as a non-native teacher, I would be a bit more, you might have to put in a bit more work to get the job. Okay. Because unfortunately, and in my opinion, wrongly, recruiters look for native teachers first, generally, not always, generally. So, but does that mean that you should not apply to them? No, I don't think it is. I believe that if you're they sometimes put that up just to sort of help with their marketing to recruit students. But in my experience, some do take on non-native teachers, especially if they've got some sort of good experience, because I can see that you're studying a master's in English, that kind of thing. Get that onto your CV and have a go for it. Just basically keep applying. Don't be afraid to apply if you're a fresher, a new non-native teacher. Okay, looking for online jobs. Just keep going for it. Emphasize your qualifications that you've passed in English, all that kind of thing. All right. How can you decide your hourly teaching rates in the beginning? Right. So by that, you wouldn't to get your hourly teaching rate. That would mean that you are looking to recruit your own students, because that's the only way you can set your hourly teaching rate. If you're going to go work for a recruiter, you're going to probably have to use their rate of pay. So how do you set that? Difficult question. Right. Akash, first thing is, how much are you happy to teach for? So if you're new, you're probably not going to be able to go in and offer really high £50 an hour, for example. Okay, so look around, look on I always pronounce this wrong. Is it Italki or Italki? I can't remember. Italki. See what sort of rates people are charging on there for the type of English you want to sell, that you want to teach, and then see if you can pitch yourself maybe in the middle or towards the lower end to try and get yourself up and running. Okay, Akash. Second thing is, or third thing, I can't remember, you need to get a rate of pay that you're happy with. Now, I don't know where you are, Akash, but if you're a teacher in India or South Asia or something like that, you might be happier with the rate of pay than someone who's teaching in London, because in London things are more expensive, whereas in South Asia things are cheaper. I live in Northern Ireland. The rate of pay that I'm happy with is probably different from my friends in London who are teachers, okay, because things are cheaper over here. So get a rate of pay that you're happy with and make sure it's not too high, but also not too low, because students sometimes think if the rate of pay is too low, the teacher's going to be bad. I hope that answers your question. Akash, hello. Claire, hello. Would it be possible to at least apply to online jobs while still training? Yeah, I would. Right. Okay. I just would be careful that in terms of, be really sure, look at the recruitment, sort of the recruitment website to see if they want to see your certificate at the time of recruitment, because you don't want to waste their time and then not, and then they'll reply to you saying, well, actually you haven't passed yet, come back when you pass, and then they might forget about you, they might not like you applying again and wasting their time. So just be really careful and check. Okay. If you've sort of passed and you're waiting for your certificate, that's slightly different. But yeah, I mean, there's no harm in looking at the requirements and sort of starting to write down the questions so you're ready to go. But just be really careful about applying before you've got that certificate, in case they don't really, they're not very happy with you at that. Okay. Does that make sense, Claire? I think it did, hopefully. Lee, hi. Once I have completed my course and completed the English for Young Learners extension, do you have to get a criminal record check certificate first before teaching children? Good point, Lee. So some recruiters will make you get a criminal record check. Yes, they will. You can do that if you're in the UK, you can do that online, but you have to pay. I can't remember how much it costs. I doubt the recruiters would pay. but some recruiters don't ask for that. Okay. So yes, if they ask you to get it, then you will have to get that criminal record check. Okay. If you're going to go work in the UK, yes, you're going to have to get the criminal record check, because I think that's a rule for local schools, that kind of thing. Does depend on the recruiter, Lee, is what I would say to you, but be prepared to get it. Yep. Good. Rose, I think Alan's answered that. Thank you, Alan. Adette, hi. What about Preply or Cambly? You have applied to these places. Well, fantastic. So yeah, just keep going. Let us know, how did you find that, Adette? I just mentioned Italki as an example. Other websites are available. Okay, does that answer your question? I hope so, Adette. Right, so where was I up to? So you just done your trial lesson. Okay, so the trial lesson, you've done the trial lesson, and then you've hopefully done it successfully or not. If you haven't done it successfully, then don't be, it would be nice for them to give you lots of feedback. But in my experience, recruiters don't tend to give you lots of feedback. They just give you a couple of sentences worth. But you've passed, and then you tend to start a bit slowly with these recruiters in terms of the number of hours. You might get lucky and they might give you lots of hours straight away, but tend to find that you start slowly and then you build up as you go along, because they want to make sure that you're okay. And they often give you your materials, and they want to see how you work with the materials, all that kind of thing. And then that's it. Basically, you've got your online job. Okay, so the process: find it, apply either through the form. Oh, CV. I didn't talk about the CV. Right. If they do ask you to recruit through a CV, then similar to what I said about the application form, think about anything that you've done in your job, such as who mentioned it above about the lecturing? Laurie. So keep that kind of thing in. Get that into your CV, sort of highlight any sort of training you've done, any sort of customer facing, any sort of work that you've done, anything like that. And hopefully that will show, and they'll be able to see that you are happy talking to people, happy sort of ordering people about, happy listening to people in a training session, planning training, all that kind of thing. Okay, so a CV is good. Qualifications, there's someone that's asked about a degree. Right, okay, some recruiters do want people to have a degree. Yes, that is true, and that's something that I'm going to talk a bit more about, getting a face-to-face TEFL job in a minute. However, it's not necessarily a rule that online companies have. Some do, and you will very specifically say you need a degree to apply for this online role. But if you've got other sort of qualifications, what is the harm in applying? Okay, you don't know what will come of it. Okay, why do they ask for a degree? Basically, because they can that's what the requirements are for their country. So to get a work visa for China, you need to have a degree nowadays. But online, it's you're not actually living in China. So just recruiters might advertise that, but go for it anyway. I would say, what's the harm about doing that? Okay, just go for it. But some do ask for a degree, and if you don't have a degree, you might start to find yourself getting a bit annoyed for seeing jobs that want people with degrees. But out there are definitely jobs for people without a degree. Okay, so I think that's covered online jobs. I'm going to start talking a bit more, please, but if you've got any more questions about online jobs, please put them in. I can see somebody has written an essay worth of questions. I'm gonna try and dig that. Hello, Andy. You're moving to Spain in September. Lovely, good, and you're doing the TEFL, right? Okay. So right, before I keep reading that, because there's so many questions, I'm just going to talk a little bit about getting a job face to face, right? So if you are someone that is looking to travel, and I understand at the moment with everything that is going on in the world, this might seem like a bit of an alien concept, but you can see there's someone there called Andy who's talking about moving in September anyway. Right. Is COVID might go on, you know, I'm got a doctorate in science, but at some point recruiters are going to start looking for people to go face to face as well, because this can't go on forever. So the first thing you've got to think about is, where do you want to go and teach? And are you happy to go there and teach there with the world and the situation as it is, all that kind of thing. So you're finding a job, you've got your certificate, you've passed your certificate, you're looking for jobs abroad, and there are various websites like our TEFL org, which shows that, but there's also others as well. eslcaf.com is one that I've got jobs through in the past. So don't necessarily just limit yourself to our website. Our certification works with many other recruiters that are out there. So you've thought about where you want to work, and you have found a job. Okay. Now, very often you send in your CV or you fill in their form, that kind of thing, similar to what we just discussed about the online teaching. But then they often, in my experience, don't want you to do a trial lesson for going to work face to face somewhere. What they want is more like an interview, or they might want you to submit a lesson plan, something like that. Okay, so that might be something a bit different from doing like an online face-to-face job. So again, think about everything you've learned on the course. Can you get that into your CV, get that into the application form, but also can it help you to plan a good quality lesson with the stages that you are taught on the TEFL org course, to make sure that it's a good, theoretically sound language learning lesson for some skills or the grammar, whatever it might be. Okay, send that in, go for it. Hopefully it's okay. Then they offer you the job. That's when you start to think about contracts, really. So then you want to look at sort of things like what are the hours you're going to work, because some places they'll do split shifts. You'll work first thing in the morning, last thing at night, or other times you'll just start in the morning and you'll go right through, or you work evening. So look at that kind of thing. Look about how many contact hours you're going to have to teach. You don't want to have too many contact hours. You might have to be there for 40 hours a week, but contact hours are slightly different. The more contact hours it is, the more difficult your life's going to be. Think about the sort of students you're going to be teaching. Are you happy with that? You might be happy with any sort of students. You just want the money. And then sort of you might have to do your own research about things like accommodation costs, and in terms of flights, insurance, what if you get sick, this kind of thing. You don't want to be put in loads of debt. Do they offer any sort of settling in allowance? Do they offer any sort of accommodation when you arrive? Will they pick you up from the airport? All that kind of thing. All right. If you've got any questions about that. Now, I'm going to just do some of Andy's long essay questions. So he wants to go live abroad. I'm just summarizing. He wants to go live abroad, and he wants to find his own one-to-one clients. Once he's got there, he's already got a job abroad. Right. So yes, when I lived in Japan, I found my own one-to-one clients off my own back. How did I find them in Japan? I found them through Facebook. I put up a few adverts around like train stations, that kind of thing, in English, and got a few people contacting me. If you're in Spain, which is where you're going to, I would try again Facebook. I would try the local classifieds. I would also put up some signs around, not signs, but like some A4 piece of paper on notice boards, that kind of thing. You'll see them a lot around Spain. It's the sort of thing that they have. Facebook, I would say, is a good one. You can go into local, very often in Spain, I've found from working in Spain a bit, there's sort of language exchange sites within Facebook or groups within Facebook, and you can get yourself involved in that. Go to some language exchange meetings, see if you can get some students around that way. Okay. regarding the rate of teaching, is it worth working it out depending on what suits the area or what works best for myself and my experience? How should I work out what to charge per hour? So first of all, yeah, as I said before, about 25 minutes ago, something like that, I think it was, get a rate of pay that you're happy with, Andy, and work from that. Don't be too greedy. Don't be too generous to your students. Look around. Think about how much local schools might charge for a one-to-one lesson. They'll take a little bit of a cut, so you might be able to undercut them. Okay. But yeah, work in the local area. Madrid, Barcelona, they're going to charge slightly more than, I don't know, Zaragoza or some of the more rural towns that aren't as big on the tourist trail, that kind of thing. All right. Hope that helps you. I mean, a rate of pay in Spain, you're probably looking at about 15 to 20 euros an hour, I would guess, to do it face-to-face over there. Can you mentor and teach students towards a specific level? Yeah, if you have a TEFL. Yes, of course you can. Right. So very often I only teach to one specific exam in the English language industry, and that's basically all I teach online. And I find that being known as the guy that can help people get through that qualification actually helps me a bit more than being Carl that teaches all the English in all the world. So I think, yes, be specific. And very often students only want to pay for one-on-one lessons towards a certain exam. Can you do it without TEFL qualification? Yes, of course you can, but you would need to teach yourself a little bit how to pass the exam. The internet is your friend. There's lots of resources on that. Hope that's answered your questions, Andy. Good. That was a long one. Right. So you found yourself a job. You go out there and hopefully you can enjoy yourself and get yourself out there and a bit and about. I don't know if there's any more questions coming in, and I think I've covered the two aspects of getting yourself an online TEFL job. Please, if anybody has another question, please throw it out there, or any more comments. I don't think they do. There's lots of advice I can see in there. Well, good. Look, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that chat on this Friday lunchtime. So basically, just to summarize, if you're going to go down the online route job, apply for a few jobs, then sort of pause a little bit and then keep looking while you're waiting for your applications to go through. If you're new to TEFL, think about any experience you've got in your own working life. Can you get that in there somehow? Can you get in anything that you can you get through anything that that you learned on that course into some of the application forms? If you have to apply with a CV, look again, same thing, tailor it in, get in anything where there's some sort of training aspect to it, anything where you presented, anything like that. If you get through to do the trial lesson, be happy, be alive, be very cheery, be like an air stewardess with your fixed smile like that all the time, because personality is a big thing. And make sure the students get to talk to you back. Okay. Good. If you're going to go online, try and find, sorry, if you're going to go offline, look through the websites, find what the country is that you want to go work at. Then we've got some blog posts about this kind of thing, I'm sure, on our website if you want more information. Again, be prepared to have an interview, very often online in Skype. Then, you know, check things like flights, visas, insurance, the practicalities, the money, that kind of thing. Don't be too afraid to ask some questions about that kind of thing, because you don't want to get surprised when you're out there. And also, one thing I should have mentioned there is, if you are already abroad outside the UK, wouldn't be abroad to you, but if you're already there, go around local language schools and see if they want people as an hourly paid teacher. So they'll take you on for just sort of 5 hours a week, something like that. Maybe even 2 hours a week for one class. See if you can get your foot in the door that way before trying to get a full-time contract. You'd be surprised how many language schools there are in the city where you live. Even in Northern Ireland, there are language schools for people trying to learn English. And pretty much all over this beautiful world of ours, there are language schools. So go into the local language schools and just see if you can get your foot in the door that way. Recruiters often like people to be in the country that they are looking to teach. Thank you, everybody. Andy, no problem. Laurie, Alan answered your question. That's good. Valerie, good. I'm glad that helped you. And Hannah, thank you very much as well. I'm glad that helped you. Everyone, thank you very much. If you've got any more questions, please type them into the messenger. We're very happy to help. If you've got any more questions that you think about, I should have asked that, put it in the messenger. Alan or someone in his team will contact me and just go through that way. There's another question coming in. Hello, Laurie. You have dual nationality, French, English, but I was born French and arrived in the UK 40 years ago. Can I say I'm a native? Yes, I would pretty much say that you are a native speaker. I would not let anybody really sort of, I wouldn't let on that you're not really, unless you're sort of asked in the interview. It depends on your accent. If you still got a French accent, Laurie, maybe after 40 years you don't. Also, quite often they class nativeness by where you got your school exams. So I would hope that helped. Good. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your Friday. Have a good day. Cheers. Bye.